Patricia, Spencer here. I'd like to welcome you into my home.
Excuse me?
Sherry's home. Welcome to Sherry's home. Today, I'm going to take you on a wild and wondrous journey through the inner workings of my mind and demonstrate to you how I perceive psych in my life. Oh!
Get the hell off the road!
Sorry. For this project, I've chosen 3 concepts. First one is classical conditioning. Second, 1 sleep disorder and 1 treatment. And the third is trait theory. So let's begin. So, what is classical conditioning? Classical conditioning is a basic form of learning in which a neutral stimulus begins to elicit a response usually evoked by another stimulus. This is done by repeatedly pairing the neutral stimulus with an unconditioned one. Back when I was a little wee kid, about 2 decades ago, yes, I know I'm old, my mom would give me flattened ginger ale every time I was sick. She would do this for all my brothers and sisters, and being the naturopath that she is, this was the same remedy each and every time. In classical conditioning, there are 5 elements: an unconditioned stimulus, an unconditioned response, a neutral stimulus, a conditioned stimulus, and a conditioned response. So how do these factors play into why I felt sick after drinking the ginger ale? The unconditioned stimulus is a stimulus that automatically elicits a response in an organism prior to conditioning. I am the organism, and the unconditioned stimulus is the flu, or sickness. It's an outside influence causing an unlearned response, which is vomiting. The vomiting is an involuntary reaction to this outside influence. Damn flu. My mom then introduces me to ginger ale, which is a neutral stimulus. The neutral stimulus is a thing that becomes paired with the flu. Through repeated exposure, my brain began to pair the ginger ale with the flu. This is the controlled stimulus, repeated exposure to an outside influence. The last piece of this oh-so-sick-inducing puzzle is the conditioned response, which is to feel nauseous when I drink ginger ale. I've associated one stimulus, ginger ale, with another stimulus, the flu. My reaction to the ginger ale is now the same or similar as my reaction to the flu, which is to feel nauseous. This is what's called taste aversion.
Hey, are you freaking smoking down there?
No. Taste aversion is an evolutionary tactic humans and animals have developed to link certain foods and tastes with dangerous and toxic foods and liquids. I didn't necessarily develop this taste aversion as a means of survival, but the learning process still occurred due to the negative pairing of ginger ale and the flu. This may have served us earlier human beings better when presented with poisonous mushrooms or salty water, but now it just reduces me to feeling like crap. So why, after all these years, does ginger ale still make me feel nauseous? I mean, come on, it's been at least 2 decades since I've had this stuff. This has to do with the other 2 factors of classical conditioning: extinction and spontaneous recovery. First of all, what are these? Well, extinction refers to the gradual weakening of a conditioned response, which causes it to either decrease or disappear. This occurs because the conditioned stimulus is no longer paired with the unconditioned stimulus. Now, this wasn't exactly a gradual extinction. At a certain point, I just decided to stop drinking the stuff, and the ginger ale is still paired with the flu. Even though this isn't exactly an extinction, there are parallels. This still hasn't answered the question, why did I feel sick? This is spontaneous recovery. Spontaneous recovery is the reoccurrence of an extinguished response after a delay or a period of time. Even after 2 decades of not having ginger ale, the behavior I learned by pairing it with the flu is so strong it caused a reemergence of the conditioned response 20 years later. The response remained available under certain conditions. So, what has this whole situation taught me? It has taught me that I am not down with the sickness. For the second segment in Psych In Your Life, I'll be discussing trait theory and how it applies to my life. A character or personality trait is a habitual or individualized characteristic displayed by an individual and are often words that can describe a person's behavior. There are good traits like devoted, or bad traits like spiteful, or other traits that can provide explanations for particular behaviors. For example, a 2015 study by the Journal of Behavioral Therapy and Experimental Psychiatry has linked nail biting to perfectionism. Go figure. Am I a perfectionist? I bite my nails. Did I need to cram a feature-length film's worth of information into a short video with explosions, cats, dinosaurs, space aliens, Harambe the Gorilla, and Ed Sheeran?
Shh, be quiet.
Probably not.
Gordon Allport is considered to be the grandfather of psychology and devised 3 levels of traits: central, cardinal, and secondary. Since then, many psychologists have agreed upon a group of traits that act as an umbrella term that goes by the acronym OCEAN, or Fox Force 5 model. 5-factor model. Its traits include openness to experience, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. And today I'll be discussing how each of these either does or does not apply to my life.
Robert McCrae described this trait as a dimension of personality relevant to understanding artistic temperament, but also social attitudes, hypnotizability, career changes, moral reasoning, and he cites artists as a prime example of someone who has this trait. Prior to researching trait theory, I would have to say I'm very open to new experiences. According to psychologistworld.com, I'm a balmy 27% open to experience. The general definition emphasizes proneness to fantasy and an artistic orientation, which I am not. I do see the virtue in trying anything once, but at the cost of living a complex, ambiguous life, no way. I would absolutely define myself as a matter-of-fact, straightforward type. I like to know what's going on and eliminate any doubt wherever possible. Maybe this is my type A personality poking out. Oh, shit.
Schmidt,
Sorry.
what are you doing?
Nothing. The second trait on the 5-factor model is conscientiousness. Defined by the Oxford Dictionary, conscientiousness is the wishing to do one's duty well or thoroughly. Okay, this is definitely me. I don't even need to take BuzzFeed's stupid quiz to know that. As some sort of self-preservation or ingrained mentality to succeed, I tend to catastrophize certain events. For example, if I don't finish this project, I'll get bad marks. This will result in me failing, which will result in me not getting a job, and I'll wind up homeless. I deal with this catastrophizing way of thinking by embracing my anal retentive nature.
Sir, I don't think you're supposed to be filming in the wellness center.
I must pay attention to details. If not, I'll miss something. And I must stick to a plan. It is created for a reason. Don't just do enough to get by. If I can do better and work harder than other people, then why not? Don't leave things unfinished. This creates a lazy and clustered atmosphere. Always be prepared. There's a multitude of things that can go wrong, and always be in control. Being out of control, well, at least chaos. If I don't follow all of these rules to a T, my life will end. Okay, not really, but I want to stay as far away from that end of the spectrum as I can. Although this thinking is completely irrational, it keeps me in line and allows me to take some solace in the fact that in the end, I'll be okay. As long as I work diligently and thoroughly, things will ultimately work out. Isn't that what we all strive for?
Hey, what are you doing in here?
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're not supposed to be here.
I'm sorry.
I heard you did this to a professor yesterday.
No, that didn't happen.
Oh yeah, that's what I've heard.
Okay.
What are you doing in here?
I'll go.
Yeah, please, get out of here.
Sorry.
Holy smokes.
The third letter in the OCEAN acronym stands for extroversion. Okay, this is definitely me. I love being around other people. Oh wait! No, I don't. Popularized by Jung and opposite introversion, extroversion is characterized by excitability, talkativeness, sociability, and assertiveness. I can already see that I might have a hard time relating this to my life. Rather than being a live fast, die young kind of guy, I'm more of a live slow, die whenever type. Talkative, easily excited, and sociable are all words that do not describe me. The only one, however, is assertiveness, but this lies in my beliefs that if I'm not assertive, bad things might happen. Extrovert behavior is perceived as lively, energetic, and social, and admittedly, I'm none of these things. The idea is not to note the lack of positive qualities in an introvert, but highlight where they draw their strengths. Independence, self-sustaining, and reserve. These qualities allow me to function highly on my own, rather than drawing strength from external sources. After all, what if I was a characteristically extroverted person and had no outside stimuli with which to draw my energy? The fourth on this list, and conflicting in ways similar to extroversion, is agreeableness. And by conflicting, I mean how it applies to me. According to Ronald Smith in psychology, traits that reflect a highly agreeable personality are being good-natured, not jealous, mild and cooperative rather than irritable, headstrong, and negativistic. I wish for the sake of sounding like a good human being that I align with the markers of possessing an agreeable personality, but I don't. Irritable, headstrong, negativistic, yeah, this kind of does sound like me. I can even be a little jealous sometimes too. If I was researching the behavioral or cognitive perspective, I might be able to explain its behavior better. After all, it isn't all that desirable. But hey, at least I'm aware. Nothing like a pint of sunripe unsweetened apple juice in the morning. Hey, is this your beer?
Hey, I've been looking for that. Thanks, eh?
Hey, it's 10 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, it's always beer time.
Fifth and final super trait of the ocean trait theory is neuroticism. Yes, neuroticism. It's a fun word to say that possesses these euphonious qualities that allow it to just roll off the tongue. Neurosis is a mental or emotional disorder affecting only part of the personality. It is accompanied by a less distorted perception than psychosis. Anxiety, mild depression, phobias, irrational fears, and thoughts are all symptoms of neurosis. Emotional stability can be characterized by the presence of anxious, insecure, or self-pitying feelings compared to someone who's calm, secured, and satisfied. Emotional instability is synonymous with neurosis. So the question begs, am I neurotic? I think the bigger question is, who isn't? I mean, most people I've ever met have symptoms of neurosis. Not necessarily self-pitying feelings or feelings of depression, but to go a whole day without having the slightest bit of anxiety, worry, or anger. In fact, the only people I know who don't experience these emotions are kids. Whew, this is a stinky kid. Mild irrational fears, angers are side effects of growing up. Life is tough, and these emotions are the residue of the challenges we face on a daily basis. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Learned from the ocean trait theory, I've learned that although I'm not very outgoing, social, or open, I do work hard to get stuff done, and I might be slightly neurotic.
Are you just gonna keep standing there talking to yourself, or did you want to order?
For the third and final concept for Psych In My Life, I'll be offering you one sleep disorder and one treatment. Unfortunately, for the sake of more interesting film, I can't offer you a more interesting sleep disorder like sleep paralysis or narcolepsy. Not to suggest that either of these are good, but I have insomnia. Not only is insomnia not interesting to talk about, but it makes me tired just thinking about it. Insomnia is the inability to fall asleep, or staying asleep once asleep, or getting back to sleep after waking up during the night.
During periods of manageable insomnia, which I'm sure most people have experienced at some point in their life, one of these will occur once or twice a week. No problem. But for about the past 4 weeks, it takes about 2 to 3 hours to fall asleep. And once I'm finally asleep, I'm only asleep for about 3 to 4 hours before I'm up and unable to get back to sleep again. I just can't seem to shut my brain off. Like the disc in a CD player, it continues to spin long after the song is over. My gym routine is slowing, I've dropped a few pounds, my marks might soon follow. Has this always been a problem?
Yes, I can remember as far back as 10 years old, lying in bed for hours. I didn't realize there was a problem at the time, and because I was a kid and had great energy reserves, I didn't think much of it.
Going back 1 year, I've sought treatment from various doctors. After one blood test in particular, I found out I had an underactive thyroid, a condition which I'll have to take treatment for the rest of my life. Coincidentally, insomnia is a problem characterized by an overactive thyroid. Like I said, I'm not a doctor. So great, I found out I had a problem I didn't even know I had. Through the all-seeing and trusty WebMD, I decided to try melatonin. Melatonin is a hormone produced by the pineal gland in the late hours of the night to signal to the brain to slow down, and eventually to pick back up. This worked great a year ago. I've been taking a small dose ever since, convinced that if I stop, I won't be able to fall asleep.
That sounds like neuroticism.
I've also tried Zopiclone, a drug that falls in the category of sedative hypnotic. It works, but it's not that great. I sought help on 2 occasions from campus doctors and was turned down both times. I won't use this time to rant, but I believe that the stigma of being a college student leads them to believe that I might be looking to get high or sell the drugs. But really, I'm just desperate to get back to sleep.
Spencer, what the hell are you doing in here? You know you lost privileges last week.
Sorry, man. I'm gone. Last week, after a number of sleepless nights, I got fed up and I went to a walking clinic before a psych lecture. I'm no longer able to fall asleep on my own. Forget sleep journals. I need someone who's going to prescribe me something. And not for the long term either, just enough to get me back on a normal sleep routine. I was prescribed trazodone, an antidepressant in the SARI category. Not only am I not depressed, but I also don't like the idea of taking antidepressants, but I'm ready to try anything. The sleepy side effect of the drug allows it to be used for insomnia. Now, is it working? Yes. It is making me tired at night, but I'm still not able to fall asleep. I've even doubled the dose that they recommended, and I'm still not able to catch any Z's. It makes me wonder, is there more going on? I didn't choose this topic because I thought it was easy. I chose it because it applies to my everyday life. I wish I could wrap this film up in a nice neat little bow with some sort of closure, but I can't. I'll most likely be dealing with this for the rest of my life. In the meantime, I'll continue to seek treatment, medication, practice sleep hygiene, and hopefully it'll sort itself out. And I wish I could end this film with a big bang, fireworks, or a giant parade, but it's almost destroyed my computer, and it's almost destroyed my phone. So I'll leave you with these nice credits. And as always, thanks for watching.